Is it ready? All right, hit it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back for another episode of the T Bloom Talk Show, the number one podcast in the world. I am your host, Mr. T Bloom himself, and today's a big day, guys. Huge day. You know why? Because you're tuning in to the first ever official T Bloom Talk Show UFC style podcast. That's right. MMA style podcast. We don't discriminate here. UFC 1, M1, it doesn't matter. You're welcome here on this podcast if you can fight. And that goes for boxing and any other kind of combat sport that may make it onto this show in the history. But anyway, excited to be bringing this to you. I'm a huge fan of MMA. Quick backstory: I wrestled for a long time in my life, so just combat sports in general have been instilled in me from a very young age, and I like to say it's one of my favorite sports. So anyway, we're going to jump right into it. Today's podcast is going to be strictly covering the UFC, the fight night that took place on Saturday night, or should I say Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. I didn't get a chance to watch it at the live time at 4 p.m. I was working, however, I did watch it after work, and let me tell you this: it was probably the best UFC fight night that I've watched in a while. And I've watched a lot of them. Um, I mean, man, I did not expect it to be this exciting and this fast. First fight of the night was Matt Brown versus Diego Lima. First round, both fighters kind of feeling out process. We're both trading vicious leg kicks. Diego Lima landed a ton of leg kicks on Matt Brown. We know Matt Brown likes to give a lot of forward pressure, so a very good game plan for Diego to try to chop that front leg down. You know what I mean? Get him to stop forward pressure. In theory. But yeah, Matt Brown taking a lot of damage early on the front foot. Not really too exciting in the first round. Other than that, now second round kind of starts out the same way. I'm kind of like getting. It's just another regular fight night. This fight's going to go the distance. Diego might peel it out, and it won't be too exciting. I'm kind of looking at my phone here and there, and then boom, Matt Brown right hand KOs the man, and I'm talking a clean KO. I'm talking this man was asleep on the ground as soon as he hit the ground. George Masvidal wouldn't have even touched this guy another time when he hit the ground. That's how clean of a KO it was by Matt Brown, the 38, 39? Is he 39? He may be 40. I'm not too sure, but he's an old man. And to have that kind of power still, I mean, Jesus Christ, like it just adds on to his legacy. He's for sure a legend. First fight of the night goes to Matt Brown with a vicious KO in the second round. Second fight of the night was Wellington Turman versus Bruno Silva. I don't know who Wellington Turman is, sue me, but I did do some research on Bruno Silva the night prior to Saturday, so Friday night, and I was excited to see his debut. This is his first fight in the UFC. Not sure where exactly he's coming from, but he was very, very exciting fighter. The type of fighter that's going to KO you with a couple punches, and he proved it tonight. The first round started out, Turman was grappling Bruno a lot, trying to slow down that power, um, trying to make it a grappling match instead of a boxing match where he would have the disadvantage there. Eventually, Turman gets onto Bruno's back, backpacking him. For those of you who don't know, he's literally legs wrapped around Bruno's legs on his back with his arms over his neck, if you can kind of imagine that. Eventually, Bruno Silva slips him off. Then he gets control of him on top and delivers some vicious ground and pound strikes. I mean, he looked like he was barely throwing his arms, just noodling them out there. But when they made impact on the man's face, and they made impact a lot, his accuracy was very impressive. It was just the cleanest little smack that you've ever heard in your life, I tell you that. But yeah, anyway, Bruno Silva showing tremendous power. He eventually TKOs him. I mean, it was vicious. Bruno Silva, be on the lookout. Like I said, I did research on Friday night. I found something very interesting in his record. He has only lost by being submitted. Any other fight where he doesn't get submitted, he KOs people. This guy is a millionaire in the making. Bruno Silva, be on the lookout. Don't be surprised when you see him in the main event in the next couple months. All right, now third fight. Julian Erosa versus Choi Sung Woo. Probably didn't say that last name right, but eventually I will as he gets better and as he gets more time to prove himself like he did last night. Starts off exciting. First round. Choi throws a huge right to start it off to show his dominance, his presence, to let Julian Erosa know, hey, I'm not to be f***ed with. Okay? I'm coming in to knock heads off. And that's exactly what he did. He knocks Erosa out with a vicious left hand and follows it up with a barrage of punches on the ground for the TKO. Stop. Let's talk about Choi Sung Woo. What did he show last night? Lightning quickness. Tremendous accuracy. I saw that dog in him. The dog that said, I am not to be fucked with. I am number one. And I will be coming for you, Julian Erosa. And that's exactly what he did. If you guys have the chance, go watch this fucking. If you guys have the chance, go watch this fight. It was a blast to watch for as long as it lasted. Very exciting. Choi Sung Woo, the future of the featherweight division. Fourth fight of the night, Marlon Chito Vera versus Davy Grant. For those of you who don't know, Marlon Chito Vera is the only person to defeat Sean O'Malley. Was a little bit of a asterisk by that fight, but I think he deserves the win nonetheless. And Sean O'Malley's good, so you got to give credit to Chito. Davy Grant, I'm not sure who he was before this fight, but I'll tell you this: after this fight, I'll be watching every Davy Grant fight to come because he's just that exciting. Excuse me, let me drink my water a little bit. Did you guys know you get really parched when you talk a lot? I didn't know that. Before I started making this podcast, I had no idea how much water you needed to drink. Anyway, Davy Grant starts out fast. Chito starts out slow. Davy's got a very unique style of punches. He comes from different angles. He's got a real looping punch, and looks like it was giving Chito kind of fits in the first couple rounds. Eventually, Chito starts to turn it on. He grabbed Davy by his collar tie, 4 elbows to the face, and then busted Davy open. That's gonna that's gonna pretty much do it for that one. Davy just kept getting busted up. But what I was so impressive about Davy was not only his fighting style, his unique fighting style was cool, was fun to watch, but this man is tough. Go back to the end of that fight. Watch that third round. Just see how it ends. Davy was in a rear naked choke, back to the mat, on top of Chito's stomach. Chito's back's to the mat. And he literally has a whole rear naked choke in, I would say, for at least 20 seconds. Davy doesn't tap. But it doesn't matter if Davy doesn't tap. You know why? Because he should have been unconscious by then. Someone has a 20-second rear naked choke on you, you're going to sleep within at least 10. And he didn't. He managed to somehow get out of it, finish the fight. It goes to decision. He loses. However, he showed tremendous toughness. I'm excited for Davy Grant. I think that's the kind of thing Dana White wants to see, too. I think when you go out there, you prove that you're not a quitter. You prove that you'll fight through it. You prove that you have a tremendous ability. Where am I going with that? Getting too wordy here, folks. Sorry. Davy Grant pretty much proved that he is worth keeping on the UFC roster because of his unique fighting style and his goddamn toughness. And for that, I applaud him. He may not have won tonight, but he is definitely a winner. Fifth fight, Oleksiy Oleinik, the old, GOAT, versus Sergey Spivak. Didn't know who Sergey Spivak is. Probably won't after this one. It was a very entertaining fight, but for all the wrong reasons, guys. I mean, it was a slop fest. They both look exhausted, slow. I mean, it it was hilarious to watch. I think it was Snoop Dogg who said it, but it looked like two uncles out there at the barbecue fighting over who gets the last beer. And it was funny because even at the end of the third round, they were hugging each other, laying on each other like two drunk uncles. I swear to God to you. They were like, "Oh man, don't worry, we'll just split the beer. I love you, bro." That's what it looked like. It was a very entertaining fight to say the least, but it wasn't a very high level fight, at least in my opinion. I mean, and I got to say this: I love Alexei Oleinik. He reminds me a lot of Finley from WWE. You guys remember him? My name is Finley, and I love to fight. That guy. You guys remember that guy? That's who Alexei Oleinik reminds me of. Just an old brute. You know, every job site has got one of those guys. Just a tough as nails son of a bitch who does the dirty work and doesn't complain and actually kind of loves to do it in a way. I hate to say it, but he needs to retire. Alexei, you need to retire. Dana, do whatever you got to do. Get this guy out of the UFC. He's going to get hurt in there. I see years shaving off as he continues. There was a point in the fight, this is probably the most exciting point of this fight, where he was on all fours looking down, and Mr. Spivak was just looking down on him, raining blows on his head. Four, five, at least 4 or 5 shots straight to the head. If you have a chance to look that up, look that up. It was just, it sucked. I mean, each one of those punches is probably 3 months shaving off his life. I mean, he needs to get out. I love him, but he needs to get out. Anyway, moving on. Main event: Chan Sung Chung, the Korean Zombie, is back to take on Dan Ige. And I don't know if you guys knew this. I always called him Ige. Maybe it's because I never really paid attention to his fights, but I always called him Eyes for some reason. So the whole time when I was watching the fight, they were like, Dan Ige. It just threw me off a little bit. Anyway, first round, Chan Sung Chung, he looked to be in control. I liked what I seen from him. He was very confident, very smooth, very methodical. His age looks like to be doing a service to him, like a fine wine. He seems to be less trying to get into those dog fights and more trying to win the fight. Um, but yeah, very confident, very smooth. He had a very good ground game against Ige, controlled him from pretty much all levels. That's pretty much how the first and second round went. Was Korean Zombie just got on top of him, controlled him, and really won the stand up game as well. The second round opened up with a big right hand from Chan Sung Chung, scored a knockdown within the first 10 seconds, and then the third and fourth round went just like 1 and 2 after that. Just Chan Sung Chung controlling him, using his veteranship and really his skill overall, his well roundedness to dominate Dan Ige in this one. Fifth round, Ige did start to open up and hit Zombie with some shots. Then again, he was down 4 rounds to none, so he had no choice. Zombie handled it the best he could and got him down to the ground within the last minute. And the rest is history. Korean Zombie, welcome back. I really liked what I saw. A very professional performance from him. It was not the stand and bang kind of Korean Zombie that we've come to see in the past. It seemed like a very more mature, well polished, and really the best Korean Zombie we've seen so far. I think. I'm excited to see where he goes from here. I know his last loss was against the why am I drawing a blank on his name? Brian Ortega. Boom. There we go. So, it's not like he's losing to guys that aren't fighting for a title, right? So, excited to see where he goes. It's going to be interesting to see how that featherweight division plays out. After the fight press conference, Chan Sung Chung did come out and say that he's looking to take on Max Holloway. He says that Max Holloway doesn't have punching power. Now, that's interesting. That's a very interesting fight because both of those fighters love to strike. But we've seen what Chan Sung Chung can do on the ground, at least in this fight against Dan Ige. How would that fight go? I mean, I know Max would obviously be the favorite, but Chan Sung Chung looks to have all the pieces to be able to put a fight together to beat Max Holloway. And Max Holloway just got out. He's no longer fighting Yair Rodriguez. He's got an undisclosed injury. Who knows what that's all about? Undisclosed. Is there a reason why he's not telling us? Why wouldn't he want to tell us? Why would he not want to disclose it to the public? Who knows? These are questions I cannot answer to you. I can only speculate. One thing I will say, if Chan Sung Chung, the Korean Zombie, go against Mr. Blessed, Max Holloway, that will go down as the fight of the year. Mark my words. T Bloom guarantee. Anyway, overall, I like to give my fight of the night, my performance of the night, my T Bloom award to this week's main event, this week's fight night main event. Fight of the night goes to Cheeto Vera versus Davy Grant. Like I said, this one was a brawl. Cheeto did start to dominate a little bit, but not to say that Davy Grant wasn't battling back and getting his shots in. It was an absolute war, blood going everywhere. Congratulations, Cheeto Vera and Davy Grant. You get the T Bloom Fight of the Night. First T Bloom Fight of the Night, which is a very prestigious award. I know you'll be honored. Second, performance of the night. Now, I had to think about this because there's a lot of good performances. I mean, you started off with Matt Brown knocking the dude out in the second round. Then fight two, Bruno Silva knocking the guy out in the first round, showing some good wrestling capabilities, shrugging a guy off, who's a good wrestler. You can even give it to Chung, who showed he's a well-polished guy. There's a lot of different candidates for this specific award. His name is Choi Sung-woo. Here's why. Not only did Choi Sung-woo come out and dominate, knocking the guy out in the first round, but that's not the only thing about performing that you need to master. In the UFC, it's not enough to just knock guys out. We know that now. It's not enough. You need to perform after the fight, when the fight's not on. Choi Sung-ju, or Choi Sung-woo, is from South Korea. He doesn't speak English. After the fight, he memorized, had it down, said a whole thing in English, didn't even need a translator. Korean Zombie didn't even do that. He's from the same place, didn't even need a translator. Came out and said he hopes to be here for a long time so he can be champion. And he hopes to keep learning. He hopes to one day learn English so he can talk to the American fans. That is impressive. That is performing. And that is why Choi Sung-woo gets the T. Bloom first ever performance of the night, because he performed in the ring and he performed on the microphone. You know how hard it is to learn a new language? Try learning Spanish. If you speak English, try learning Spanish. It's hard. Try learning South Korean. It's harder. 10 times. I could only imagine what it would be like to learn English, the hardest language in the world. I don't even understand it. I've been living in America for 24 years. Still to this day, don't understand it. You should see my Word documents filled with red lines and blue lines. I'm spell checking on the daily. This man learned a new language all while preparing for the fight of his life. Performance of the night, Choi Sung-woo. Go look him up. Now, this T. Bloom Award, and I was like, oh, what is the T. Bloom Award? So I came up with a rough definition. The winner of this award will be a fighter that had a surprise performance, showed great toughness and perseverance, and proved that they are a straight gangster. Shout out Chael Sonnen. This is the G Award. This is the T. Bloom Award is the Savage Award. Okay? It's whoever T. Bloom wants to give award, because they're straight G. And the T. Bloom Award of this night goes to Davy Grant. Like I said, dude proved he ain't quitting. Dude proved it. You get in a rear naked choke for 20 seconds and not get put to sleep. Do it. Go with your buddies. Say, hey, get me in this position. Boom, boom, boom. 20 seconds. Try not to go to sleep. Then while doing that, try to get out of it. It's not going to be easy. Davy Grant, first ever T. Bloom Award of the night. Some takeaways, 5 key takeaways. Korean Zombie looked better than ever tonight. We knew that. Smooth, calm, poised, confident, and well-rounded. Number 2, Zombie says he wants to fight Holloway next. Does he have the punching power? That's interesting. Number 3, Bruno Silva. Power is legit. Bruno Silva is legit. Well, I won't say that just yet. I'll say Bruno Silva's power is legit. Completely. We've seen it. Guy's got hands. Number 4, Davy Grant is a badass. And number 5, Alexei Oleinik needs to retire. Seriously, get that guy out of here. Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode of the T. Bloom Talk Show, the first ever UFC official. We will be back next Sunday for after the fight night of Volkanovski versus I don't know who, but it's going to be good. I'm out.